Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
Alright, we're gonna talk about what we've been up to this week, and we're kinda gonna keep it short because we got a lot to talk about this week. There's actually a lot going on.
Yep.
So, as for me, been mostly working on some stuff behind the scenes for the channel, some stuff for the Grim Hollow game, because we started a new adventure for you guys. And then Acquisitions, they did their first new adventure, or first session for the new adventure. And then beyond that, I'm finishing some reading on some books and got the Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition server up on the Discord. So if y'all are part of the Discord, some fun stuff there. Took me a minute to keep that server up. Hey Cal, how's it going? Thanks for joining. It took a while to keep that server going because I will say this because I'll tell this story and then we'll cut to
Alright.
ask what you've been up to. But for the Neverwinter Nights, so you can do a dedicated server or you can just host a server because you happen to be playing the multiplayer as well. So it's one of those, if I happen to play a multiplayer game, I can host the server. But I can also make a dedicated server that just is constantly running. So I tried to do the dedicated server. So that way, if, say, I'm not playing, y'all can still get into the game and play, right? Problem is, it kept shutting down.
I see.
Either because the computer would shut off, which that happened with my tower in here. That happened with my dad's computer, who's in the chat as well. So
okay.
his computer also would it would
Oh,
just
no.
it would just do a reboot, it would do like an update type of reboot, and so that would turn off the server because,
Oh.
and so I would have to refresh the server, and so I was just like, yeah, let's not do that. So instead, the solution I found, because I wanted to be able to play the game while also being able to do like a DM mode, because you can do DM mode where you can log in with a different password that I have not given anybody else. Y'all just have the player password. But there's the DM password, which lets me pop in and basically create new creatures y'all can fight, or I can give y'all items, or even make y'all invulnerable for a little bit if I need to. And I wanted to be able to be both a player and a DM, so I would need to log in twice. Problem with that, even for the PC version, even for GOG, which GOG is very much about the, no DRM stuff. In the case of Neverwinter Nights, there is a CD key that you have to use whenever you start your multiplayer for the first time. So that tracks what copy you're playing.
I see.
It's old school style of tracking. It's old school DRM because it's just a CD key. But yeah, I tried to download it on my dad's computer as well so he could play. And when I put the CD key in and I logged in on that computer, I couldn't log in on my other computer because it says, hey, somebody with that CD key is already logged in. So couldn't do that. So the new plan was I have the game also on Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
So I tried to host the server on my computer.
Yeah.
And then play it on the Switch. Problem: Switch does not use the same maps, therefore they can't actually log in to a PC run server unless like certain maps are unless behind the scenes people have done stuff to make it work. You have to mess with the port servers and all that stuff, mess with your IP and all that, and I didn't want to do all that. So what I ended up doing instead is you can run the server from your Nintendo Switch. It won't be a dedicated server, it'll be a I'm logged in server. But you can join that PC. It's just the maps are designed differently. They're a little bit smaller, is what I've noted, like the prelude level. And so that's what I'm doing. And so the Switch is actually running right now. It's plugged in and it has the server going with my character just standing there waiting for me to play it. I'll probably reset the server in a bit anyways, because once you leave the prelude, it starts chapter 1, and that creates a new instance entirely, and nobody can start from the prelude. Uh-oh. We dropped a bit. Let's see if we're back up. There we go. We're back up.
Right.
We had a little bit of a drop there. like I was saying though, so the prelude, once you finish it, it starts chapter one, which becomes the new starting point for when people log in, and so you can't start from the prelude, which is the tutorial, and so once we get more people that want to play it and we decide, hey, let's play it together on a game night or something, I'll reboot it to start from the tutorial and it can have up to 64 players, so it can be a pretty big group. Because we could set it as one party, or we could have multiple parties kind of running at the same time, and that decides also the PvP situation if we want to allow PvP. Because a lot of the servers nowadays are run kind of like small MMOs. Because PC also, if you do a PC dedicated server, it can have 100-something players at once. But the Nintendo Switch version doesn't. It's only 64 cap, but that's still a lot for a game like that. Because it's just it's a more modern version of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Icewind Dale and Planescape. I mean, it's BioWare's continuation of doing a game like an isometric RPG before they do Dragon Age, but after they've done and it's before they've done Knights of the Old Republic in terms of RPGs. So that kind of tells you where their engine is and all that. Okay. So it's that type. It's similar to Knights in gameplay though. Knights 1 gameplay, where it's real time with pause, much like the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, but it's also more like you can shift the camera to be a little bit closer to your character, kind of like Knights. So it's leading a lot to what later BioWare games start to kind of look like. And this is after they don't have access to the Infinity engine at this point, because Infinity, the company that has that, lost their license to do D&D games because they only had the license to do second edition games like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. But this is third edition Neverwinter Nights, and so Wizards, I think it was Wizards by this point, made a new license to different developers. And so that's how we got Neverwinter Nights. But yeah, so we got that server running. Right. If you want the password and the name, join the Discord, and that's how you can check it out. But your turn. What have you been up to?
So, I enjoy Fallout. I've been going through 4, and after putting it off time and time again, I finally got around to starting and playing and completing the Far Harbor DLC.
Yep.
Some high highs and some low lows.
All right, give us the one instance of a high and then one instance of a low.
So, one of the core, like, kind of things that's going on is they're like, hey, you know these Children of Adam guys? We think they might be crazy. And I'm like, well, it's not the first time I've encountered them.
Yeah.
So I go and I do all their quests, and there's like the Children of Adam, which are like a bunch of radiation and worshipping cultists. If you've played Fallout, you know who they are. There's Acadia, which is basically like a synth hideout refuge kind of place. So I went and I did some stuff there. And there's Far Harbor, like the actual place.
Yeah.
So, in terms of a like high, I went into I did like a bunch of stuff. So the leader of like Acadia, whose name is Dima, I went and was like, in order to convince one girl, like, the reason why you go there, I'm like, hey, I don't really care if you're a synth. Go home, your family cares about you. And she's like, I feel like the guy who leads Acadia is up to some stuff. And I'm like, I will look into it.
Yeah.
So I look into it, and he's like, yeah, I needed, like, a voice of reason between, like, the synth population and the humans down in Far Harbor, so I went and I killed one of them.
Oh, great.
And I replaced, and then hid my memory of it, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be great. Also, Dima is like, considers Nick his brother, and I brought Nick along with me because this is a case that he has at his office. So I go and I do that. And I'm like, hey, Dima, you know your plan doesn't work if you put yourself in a position of, like, power. If you want people to be better, you can't do it from up top. You have to be among them. So I'm like, you're going on trial for murder, essentially.
Yeah, like you can't be above your own actions.
Yeah. And he's... So I take him there, and I'm like, maybe I can convince them to, like, incarcerate him instead of kill him. And so there's this whole thing where the town has, like, gathered around, and they're, like, kind of arguing, like... So Dima goes in there, right? And he's like, he announces to all of them, I killed one of you. And I'm like...
Well, that's a way to start it.
That's not a great start. Do you have anything to say in your defense? And he goes, not really. And to which the lady who he's replaced this lady with a synth called Captain Avery, who does not know she is a synth, because that's kind of the entire point.
Yeah.
And Captain Avery's like, well, we only punish murder one way on the island. We don't really have, like, a formalized court of law here.
Yeah, we haven't worked that out yet.
Yeah, we haven't really bothered with that, what with all the horrific monsters and other shit we've had to deal with. And so, I'm like, I may have made a mistake. But because I'm also someone who's, like, story stuff, most of the time, unless I think it's really bad...
Yeah, you're very much no
redos.
Yeah.
So, I'm like... I came into this thinking I could talk them out of this. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because they go... Dima goes, it's like, I murdered one of you. And I'm pretty sure it was Avery who just shot him in the middle of the street.
Yeah, basically, from what I've seen with you, unless it's like something that leads to a game over.
Yeah.
You're...
Or like a thing where I can't continue going forward in the game.
Yeah.
I accidentally did soft lock myself.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah. Basically, I did it again.
Oh.
I decided to blow up the Children of Adam. I did not... I spent about 30 seconds fighting when I should have spent it running. So I would get outside of their submarine and it would blow up and I'd basically get reset. So I was like, thank God I hard saved before this. Because I was like, I know something fucky might happen.
Yep. It's always, I mean, RPGs, the number one rule, always hard save pretty often.
Yeah.
Or at least quick save. At the very least, quick save. Because don't count on the autosaves to get you out of things.
Yeah. And now for the low. I spent what I think is a total of 7 hours working through a series of puzzles to progress the plot. I had help for, I got through 3 of them without any help. But by puzzles 4 and 5, because they're, light refraction puzzles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck this.
Maybe it's a good...
Even back in the day...
I was going to say, maybe it's a good thing you didn't finish Jedi Survivor and you just watched the cutscenes. Because there's a lot of light refraction puzzles.
I can't stand puzzles. Riddles, that's fine. If I get them wrong, that's fine, because that's, a word puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
But actual, light puzzles, I can't deal, man.
Hey, everybody's got their thing.
Yeah. I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
I probably won't succeed at it, but I'll try. And so, even, looking at, the guides that I looked up for 4 and 5, they were like, yeah, it's really complicated, and also, even if you do get this right, it's still gonna take, half an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. Well, I guess the good news is I have, audio transcripts of Dima's memories, because I did the last 2 after he was executed.
There you go.
Also, maxed out affinity with Nick. Admittedly, the hilarious thing of, at the damn near end of his, personal mission where he's, just resolving the original Nick Valentine's, problems. As we're going to, deal with Eddie Winter. He is like, so do you think Dima's like actually my brother? And I'm like,
I hope not, because he's
I hope
gone.
not, because he's dead. I'm like, it's up to you. And he's like, maybe I'll talk to him next time we swing by Far Harbor. And I'm like, I mean, you can talk to him. He won't be listening
Or answering.
or answering.
Oh no. Yeah, that's well, whoops. So
You should have asked me that question earlier, Nick. I mean, I did switch you out for old Longfellow.
yeah, maybe you should have taken him to Far Harbor with you.
I did, and then I spent like half of it with him and the other half with old Longfellow.
Oh well.
Whoops.
So that's what we've been up
There are more
to. Yeah,
stories, but we're a little bit short on time.
yeah.
so
There's a
we're
lot of there's a lot.
so
Yeah,
we're
because
gonna
we're
move
talking about
fast.
2 comic
Yeah.
books, and so we gotta. But before we do, we actually have some news this week,
Yes.
as we're getting the final season of Bad Batch next month.
Oh shit.
It's like near the end of next month, but or yeah, I think it's February is what it said, right? If I remember correctly. We're gonna watch the trailer again.
Yeah, it'll tell us then.
So Star Wars decided to surprise us with the trailer. We're gonna go ahead and watch it together. So let's go ahead and.
Hold on! We've got troopers up top. We're running out of road!
Not exactly a stealth exit, boys.
Let's move! I thought at the end of the war,
Yeah, got Rex back.
losing more of our brothers. I was
Don't remind us. Why does it remind us?
not with the Empire imprisoning the kid.
Yeah, this is the season of everybody starting as in the worst scenario possible.
Tiger's been waiting for us a long time. Our mission is not over yet.
Yep, February. Okay, I remembered correctly.
Greater importance to secure the future.
It's a couple weeks out.
Whatever is needed,
It's a week and some change after my birthday, but I'll count it as a birthday present.
you will have it.
I'm technically getting 2 shows for a birthday present. We got this and the rest of Young Jedi Adventures.
Alright.
For all of you. Give us a real challenge. Everyone down! We're not big on following orders.
I wasn't planning,
And this was the big.
but you're making it very.
This was the big what the fuck. I'm hyped, confused, but excited. And so I did some digging. 3 episodes premiering on February 21st. So they're really pushing out. I don't like that it's the last season, for one, because I don't want the show to be over yet.
Hey.
Don't worry, I got it. So I don't want it to be the end of the season or series.
I think I texted you when I first saw the trailer and just said, "Oh no, she's back."
I mean, I like it because she's a good character. I'm curious how they're going to resolve the Dark Disciple of it all. I guess I
This
should.
is a book I have not read, so I am missing some context.
Yes, there's some context you're missing. I'm gonna not spoil it because we are talking. That is a book we're talking about this season.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna spoil it, but they do have to resolve some conflicting things that happen in that book to how she can appear in this show. According to Twitter and some mutuals there was one of the creators did talk about how for the show they did talk about that they did take that into account, like, and so
Okay.
I am curious what their answers are regarding that.
This might be a Street Fighter type situation where some things are explained from like a certain character's point of view, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm 90% sure that that person was dead at this time, but then it's like revealed, No, just severely like injured or
So
something.
I am curious what's going on, but I'm also not like there's some people that are on the other end where they're like, like I was very much like, oh, they're ignoring stuff again. I'm kind of curious what's going on here. I wasn't mad. I was more frustrated that because like they've done it a bit where they've ignored books and stuff. But after I saw that, I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. But there's other people that are just like, what are they doing ignoring that stuff? That's canon. And it's like, take a deep breath. You can relax. Relax. It's just
see how
it's
this
just
goes.
it's just fiction. It's just a TV show. Just a set of books. I like them too. I think Dark Disciple is within easily the top 5 best Star Wars books.
All right.
Easily.
You've read a lot of them.
Yeah. So I would say it's easily in top 5. Possibly even top 3. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it because I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Hunter's like, I gotta get my daughter back
Yeah, Hunter's like,
again.
gotta get my daughter.
Gotta get my daughter back again. God damn it.
And they gotta save Crosshair because he's finally, come around. After being on the snow
Just
planet.
took a while.
Yeah, after being on snow.
Fucking Lieutenant New Shoes.
God, that story arc still kind of is rough. But yeah, so that's our first big news of the week. Secondly, this actually fits with one of the topics for this week, or for today, because we'll be talking about Darth Vader Black, White, and Red in a little bit. But we've already got another Black, White, and Red miniseries announced this week. Woo! The focus of this next miniseries of Black, White, and Red will be Darth Maul. This kind of makes sense to me. Black, White, and Red is a spin-off of the Marvel miniseries Black, White, and Blood, which does exactly what we're going to talk about the Vader one doing, which is they take a specific Marvel character, focused on them, do a black, white, and red artistic, design where it's just black, white, and red as the colors. And so, and I like it. And so I think and we get some really good stories out of it, which we're going to discuss soon. So yeah, to me, it makes sense that we're going to get another one. It makes sense to focus on Maul next. I'm curious what other characters they would choose for one. I would honestly throw Palpatine in the ring. I would like to see some. Maybe use this particular miniseries as a way to take advantage of like that we don't know a lot about Palpatine Sidious. There's not a lot that we actually know about the man, and so I would take advantage of that personally. But yeah, so for the Maul one, that's going to be starting in April. It's going to be another 4-issue miniseries, just like the Vader one was, and so always excited for more content. So let's jump. Speaking of, let's jump into today's topic.
Sorry, I don't really have much to comment about that.
Yeah, like you're within the same situation as me. You're like, more content's good content. I mean, or at least exciting. But yeah.
Spoiler warning.
Spoilers for Darth Vader Black, White, and Red, and Hyperspace Stories Volume 2, Scum and Villainy. Those are the two topics we have today. We're gonna start with the the Darth Vader, because that came out first technically. So the first story in Darth Vader Black, White, and Red is Hard Shutdown Part 1, but that's connected. That's kind of like the interconnective tissue for the 4 issues. So we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it when we get to Part 4. So we'll just talk about all 4 together. Instead, let's start with the reason I got excited for Peach Momoko doing a Visions comic, and that is Inescapable, which is, once again, Peach Momoko style of a silent comic. And in this case, we find our protagonist having visions of Vader while being hunted by him. And God, that final panel is haunting.
It took me a little. I was like, "Are you having visions? Is this a nightmare? Is it both?"
I think it's a little both.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, he really he scared the shit out of you.
I also
which is a fair thing to happen.
I also like the I think it's really cool, the little James Bond looking shot that she has in one of the panel that Peach did for one of the panels, which is like, instead of like, it does the little hole, but it has like the blood curdling around, and it's like with the blaster fire going through it. Oh, I liked it.
It is a
everything,
good one.
everything about the.
Yeah.
And this is why I was, because this came out first, and then we got the announcement for the Visions comic, and I told you that I was excited for that because I read this comic already, and I was like, once you read this comic, it will make sense why I was excited about that. But we already read the Visions one first together, so you already get why I like her style, and she needs to do more. Let her do more Marvel.
Peach Momoko's stance on dialogue is, we don't need it, throw it out.
And
And she does a very good job of like stylizing things. And I'm like,
it's not like you, and you can still understand the story because there's still very much a story going on.
Yeah.
You just have to interpret like the thoughts and stuff on your own.
the visuals are very strong.
Yeah, it's because it's similar to like film, and because comics are also very much a visual medium. Although they're not considered like part. When somebody says visual medium, they're usually talking film and television. But comics are a visual medium, and without the art being strong, the comic can have
They
well written dialogue, but
Yeah, but that's not the point of a comic.
yeah. At that point, write a book.
Yeah,
Not that a comic's bad inherently if the art's
No.
bad, but it's just not as enjoyable. Like if you look to anybody that reviews comics for a living, I wouldn't say we're in that level, but
No.
we do review them on a near weekly basis. But I wouldn't say we're on the same levels as say a Linkara, for example.
yeah, no.
But when you watch somebody like that, they talk about the art being very important, and I agree. I agree with that stance, and I think Peach is a very good example of what really good art can do. So yeah, I would love to see more stuff from them with Marvel. I would love to see, honestly, I'd love to see what they did if like given the chance to do an animated thing. I talked about it with when we did the Visions review for their one shot. Like Visions, give them one short. Give them one short in volume 3, and I will. Because we've seen also in Visions what you can do with the silent, like, because we've had silent episodes of Visions, so like I think Peach fits the style. A lot darker in tone generally, but because I mean, like I said, that last panel for this one, it ends with her staring up, and then a TIE fighter that's just an eyeball with the flesh extending to be the wings. Staring back at her, and it's just like it definitely resonates in your mind. Like you don't forget it.
Gotta ignore that and go back to bed. Nope.
So automatically, I give this one like a 5. This is a 5 out of 5. Like this is the stuff that I think a comic series like Black, White, and Red should be doing. It should be doing creative things. It should be telling an interesting story still. But also creatively should be your forefront, because this is your experimental comic. This isn't the mainline series where you're worried about this type of stuff. Like you're not worried about that.
Yeah.
So that's the first one, and then we go into Dissolution of Hope, which finds us following a sabotage an Imperial facility. I think if I remember correctly, they were hoping Vader wouldn't be there because they even asked to make sure that he wasn't going to be there. Because like there was like one of the Imperial officers was having like a party of some sort. I think it was a wedding or something. I can't remember specifically.
Like that.
So they asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, he's not showing up. He was supposed to be here, but he's not." And so they were like, "Okay, cool, we can enact this plan." And so they attack the facility.
Oh fuck, he's here.
Yeah, it turns out he's here, and of course things go wrong. And they try to like blow up the facility because they're even working with the scientist that's in that facility, and so they set a little explode like thing that will blow up the entire facility to go off into like the mainframe of the facility.
It don't work.
It don't work. Vader kills everybody as expected, and then except for the scientist,
Except for the scientist, who I'm like,
because he has he uses the force to force the scientist to reverse the sabotage, and then he kills him. Or at least it's implied, because we don't see him do it, but we see him do the closed fist that implies force choke. I mean, that's what I got out of that image anyways. When I see like Vader doing the closed fist, I think of like the times he's force choked somebody and he just, you know. Once again, very creative on art style. This one's not as memorable to me.
I should have reread these like last night, but I was like, I don't need to do that. My like thing is, I'm like, the scientist is freaking out the entire time, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, that's cool. Vader at the end, he's like, oh, I knew you were the only one who could undo this fuck up.
Which is why I left you alive long enough to do this. Because that's the thing, Vader is a attack hound, but he's still very methodical.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something we see pretty much throughout this entire miniseries. In fact, the next one we get is Endless Mercy, which is one of the few where I'm very much like, yep, Vader did the only way to resolve this.
Fuck that.
Because
this is, I'm like,
yeah.
what is the... No, fuck this.
Because Vader and his stormtroopers are tracking down a scientist who has gotten involved with some genetics, and of course created a monster and kind of merged with it. And
what is this?
It's like, and it's also like has
What
like a
is
hive
this?
mind thing going.
I remember reading it, and I'm like, what is this Resident Evil plot you have going on here? This is Star Wars, but with Resident Evil. Who put my Resident Evil in my Star Wars? And it's fucking great. And I'm like, yeah, no, fuck this.
Yeah.
I can't deal with this.
So Vader's the only one who escapes, and he makes absolutely the right call. He just carpet bombs the planet. And I'm just like, yep.
Mm.
There's only one decision in that scenario.
That one is not dealing with whatever the fuck that plan was.
Power is one we were talking about. This is one we were talking about on the way here. That one shows us why there are some people that would defend the Empire. Because, we always talk about how, like, the Empire is evil and nobody should really be defending it, which is true. But we also start to see a viewpoint of why, like, some people who are younger might not understand the stuff inherently. And we follow this kid whose mom is attacked, and their home is burned by the local teen street gang, who also bully the kid.
Yeah, because they're assholes.
Yeah.
They have nothing better to do.
But then the Empire steps in with Vader at the lead, and they immediately just embarrass this street gang, and like they kill everybody except for the leader. And then Vader walks up to the leader, who's like being like held by his mom. And once again, this is just a bunch of teens, and the mom's like, spare him, he's just a kid.
I feel like there may have been a misinterpretation.
Because he does kill a lot of people.
He kills a lot of people.
The other members of that gang. Although
the mom is not holding him. That he does scare the shit out of the leader.
I thought the leader's mom was with him as well.
I think.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah. Because they track down the street gang leader because they had to find him.
Yeah.
And they track him down back to his place.
The reason why is that they're looking for basically some rebels that are hiding out on the planet.
Yeah.
I may have misinterpreted it as well.
Yeah, I can find it.
But my assumption is she's like, please don't fucking kill us. We didn't do any of this shit.
Please, he's an innocent child. We don't know anything. And that's his mom holding him, so yeah. And he's got the little snot going out of...
Can you scroll up real quick?
Because that's the main kid's mom,
Okay.
and then that's his mom.
I see.
Because main kid's mom is blonde.
Mom is also holding him. That's where I was confused.
Yeah. Main kid's mom is also holding the main character.
That's why I got confused, because they're both being held by their mom.
Yeah.
And she's... Main kid's like, holy fuck, this is awesome.
At first,
fuck this guy.
Although at first, main kid was like, "Hey, stop! Don't do this," because like when the firefight was going on, they were like, "Hey, don't do this." But
chill.
Too much. But then after he saw Vader like scaring the bully / street gang leader,
fuck that guy.
yeah,
and he's like, oh yeah, Empire good. Empire good. They got this fucking asshole to stop.
Yeah, even if it was through like the most brutal of ways, but also like they don't. I think young enough that they don't understand the
Full context.
yeah, and so I thought it's a good. It's a good kind of look into why like people might view Vader a certain way versus others. Like I'd say 99% of people who know that even know Vader exists, because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like Vader is mostly myth
Yeah.
unless unless you're part of the Rebel Alliance or you've done something to lead him towards you. He's a myth.
Yeah.
But for the 99% that do know him, I'd say they fear him first.
Yeah.
And then the 1% are like this kid who look at him as a hero and in awe. I'd say it's a very low percent, though, that do that. Next one I didn't write as much about, but if you have more to talk about it, it's the Annihilated one, which is just Vader showing off his piloting skills.
Yeah, I don't really have much to comment about it, because, once again, I don't care much for piloting stories.
Yeah.
But I understand they're a part of Star Wars, and they can be fun.
And it also makes sense that Vader would,
Yeah.
like, because we know how good Vader / Anakin is as a pilot. So, like, the story is this admiral's like, hey, we got a bunch of rebels out there that we need to get. You want me to send out a fleet? And Vader's like, no, I got this by myself.
Don't worry about it.
And Vader just...
He's like, you sure? He's like, yeah, don't worry. This is going to be fun for me.
And so, yeah, Vader just... Pew, pew, pew.
Yep.
And it's a nice one. It's one that doesn't have a lot of dialogue either, because it doesn't. I mean, dogfighting scenes, especially a solo dogfighting scene like that, where we're only focusing on one character. There's not a lot of dialogue to go off of.
Yeah.
It's more of the visuals, and I thought the visuals, just like the rest of this comic, they're A tier to S tier level of quality. Diplomatic Impunity is the next one, which has us following a spy in Vader's service as his pilot and negotiator. But much like Attack of the Clones, we get a more aggressive negotiation style, where Vader just comes in and rocks everybody's shit. And, of course, Vader finds out about the rebel spy with him and threatens her family. And basically goes, you have one chance to see them again, and then when you come back, you're working for me as a triple agent, and you never get to see your family again.
Yep. That is one of the moments where I'm like, oh man, you picked the wrong line of work, lady.
Yep.
I feel bad for you. You're fucked.
It's even worse because
Like, it's the funniest thing of Vader being like, the entire time she's like, I don't know why we're here, and he's like, oh, you're gonna know.
Yeah, because they go to this planet.
He takes her to her house.
Yeah, to her home planet, and she doesn't comment on that. I don't, if I remember correctly, she doesn't.
It's
like she doesn't
there's
let
not
in.
much out here.
But Vader's like, no, we got some negotiating to do
No,
here.
don't worry, we'll be negotiating.
Just not with anybody that lives here. That's besides you.
Yep.
You're the one I'm negotiating with.
So just so you know, if you don't do this, I'm gonna kill you.
And your family.
And your family. But, if you work for me, you get to say goodbye to your family one last time, so don't waste it.
Yeah. Which is...
You'll never see them again.
I mean, all of this lines up with Vader very... Like, this is very much in Vader's style of tactics to pull... I mean, we see him pull similar things in the main run, and yeah. So, this all tracks. It's an interesting one. I mean, and then of course we're getting it from her point of view because she's narrating throughout this.
Yeah.
And she's just like, as if I think it's supposed to be like a log she's giving to the rebels that she's spying for, but then like it becomes oh nope, I can no longer report that, or at least not the same way because now she's a triple agent. And now let's finally talk about Hard Shutdown. It's not the last one we'll talk about, but it's like near the end.
Yeah.
It follows a group of insurgents that managed to capture Vader because their leader was the son of the engineer who designed Vader's armor. And he is also cybernetic because his dad also did some stuff on him. We learn that he basically has a hatred for Vader because Vader was always viewed as the better creation.
Yeah.
And so that's
old man kind of kept trying to pursue that again on his own son, and I'm like, this is gonna go great, isn't it?
and so that's kind of fueling him for this revenge. And so they actually do manage to capture him because they shut down his cybernetics.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, oh no.
Unfortunately, you can
This
shut
is-
down Vader's cybernetics, but
The power of hate is strong with that one,
and the Force.
and the Force too.
Yeah. So he managed to escape with the Force, where he then the insurgents are just like they
Yeah.
are. There is nobody left standing really, except for the leader. By the end of it, like he escapes, and the leader's like, "Oh, we gotta get out of here," because even the leader's like, "I know what's going on. We're leaving."
Yeah, one of the best like interactions in the like story is he can't move, and his friends and his like ally being like, "What do you mean he can't move?" And he's like, "That's what it's telling me. He can't move." And it's like, "Are you sure? 'Cause we're dying out here."
And so so they eventually everybody except for the leaders left is killed, and ironically, Vader then shuts down the leader's own cybernetics, and leaves him to die very slowly with these crab-like creatures attacking and killing him.
Yeah, like, get wrecked, kid.
Yeah, he's like, "There's only one me." That's the mistake you made.
Yep.
And it's just like, dang. That was a really good one. If I remember correctly, that one was Charles. That was the Charles one, I think. So Charles Soule. And I think that was like,
hard.
yeah. I mean, Charles Soule knows what he's doing. We've seen his books. We've seen his comics. We know what he knows what he's doing when it comes to Star Wars, I think. And then we get to the penultimate of the Darth Vader ones, Uninhabited, which gives us one of the more interesting alien species. When Vader goes to a planet to conquer it for the Empire, but they don't see anybody on the surface. And so Vader's like, "Well, there's no one here." And they're like, "But we see we see that people are living on the computers." And he's like, "I don't see anybody, so I'm coming back up." And so he goes back up, goes into his back tank where the doctor medical droid is like, "Hey, there's a problem.
Hey,
You got some pathogens inside your body."
yeah.
Turns out they're a pathogenic alien species. Yeah.
And he has like a discussion with the creature, and the creature's like giving him a speech about like, "I am the only thing that has ever lived on this planet that actually matters."
Yeah, like they're having negotiations while in from within Vader's body. Vader obviously is like, "Fuck this shit."
Fuck you! I do what I want. I'm Darth Vader," said Darth Vader.
And the pathogenic alien's like, "Cool, we're gonna fight now, and I'm gonna attack you from inside your own body."
And Vader's like, 60% of my body is gone. This is not gonna work out for you.
Eventually, Vader does overcome him. It is a tough fight
It is.
because you're fighting your own body.
It's like, I'm gonna use my space magic and just yank this shit out. I don't want to deal with it.
And then
Good thing Bacta kills it.
Yeah. And so the Bacta kills it, and then they go back to the surface where they flamethrower that.
Yeah.
Because they find
Vader is like searching around and just being like, "Nope."
Yeah, he's
burn
using
that.
his lightsaber to like check to make sure, is it dead?
No, he like fully goes, "Yeah, no, just burn that."
Inhabited was fun just because it's another alien species that we haven't seen before. I would love to see more. You're Lord Vader. We can send like some stormtroopers to look into it.
He's like,
It's probably
"Nah."
it's probably just the weather. Like it's probably not any like the rebels probably didn't go back. But I mean, we can send some people to look into it if you're really that invested. And he's like, "I got this." And it's just like, I'm with that guy though, the officer. I'm like, why are we wasting? That's a waste of resources.
Yeah, he's like, "We could send like a squad out there," and Vader's like, "Nah, I got this. Don't worry about it."
It turns out to be Wampas because of course it does. And then Vader has to survive multiple Wampas attacking him like it's like it's COD zombies but with Wampas.
Yeah, my brain immediately went like, "Oh, like father, like son," seeing.
Yeah, because he cuts the arm off. Yeah.
seeing that, and also like him getting sneaked by a wampa as well. I'm like, man, Force does not help you with wampas as much as it should, huh?
Yeah, well, you know, the Force doesn't automatically give Spidey senses, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you don't have that always going.
But I'm gonna assume the
Like
cold
you,
metal probably didn't help.
I mean, you probably have some detection
Yeah.
because they always talk about how there's a disturbance in the
There's
Force.
always something wrong.
Yeah.
But never like a oh shit.
It's never like a Spidey sense where
Yeah.
they can sense it at the last minute. No. It's more of a there's something going on.
Something's not right.
Yeah.
The feng shui is off.
Yeah, the feng shui's off. In this case,
The Force is amazing, but also cryptic at the same time.
yeah, and so I thought it was interesting, and he
Yeah.
decides to survive by
Yeah.
hanging out in the crashed AT-AT.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna hang out here for a while. 'Cause
Uh,
they're beating my ass.
after he makes a call
Yeah.
to get like them to come pick him
Hey.
up.
I need a ride home, basically.
Yeah. And so eventually that same like officer arrives to pick him up. And then Vader chokes him out, even though he didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. Like,
What
that man
the
didn't.
hell, man?
He.
It's like I just got here.
It's like, I even offered to do this myself. It's not like you went into a trap. You did this on your own.
I show up to help you and you kill me? What the fuck?
Then again, we've never said Vader was a good manager. Like,
Yeah. He has a very hands-on approach to work.
yeah, there's some micromanagement going on here, and then like also like abuse with the workers. Like, they should really just go on strike, and then. I
Man,
felt
they're not giving us any fucking coffee, said the people on the Death Star.
I almost forgot about that story.
That's a plot point.
Yep. Let's go on strike because we don't have good calf on the Death Star. But yeah, so that's it for Black, White, and Red. I definitely put this in like an 8 category on our normal out of 10.
Yeah. The whole collection, I'll say, is a solid 9 for me.
I almost said a 9, but so yeah, like 8 and 8.5 I could probably
Yeah.
go to because
It's in the upper range.
yeah, it's really if you like Vader as a character and you like kind of character studies like this and you don't mind a little bit more creative, like weirder stuff, then this is definitely for you because this is definitely on the more weird side for a lot of them.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's creative. A lot of great art. Good writing.
It helps with, like, mythologizing Vader as, like, this kind of threat, and also, like, yeah, man, big problem for the Empire, go get Vader.
Because I will say, when it was first announced, I was kind of on the same done with it train of Vader comics as like some of our mutuals, because one of our mutuals who talks comics, they were also like, I'll check it out, but it's just another Vader comic. It's a good Vader comic, but at the same time, it's like if you aren't interested in Vader comics, don't check it out. But if you like Vader enough that you don't mind, however, like if you can never get enough of Vader, this is great for you.
I think the style of it as a whole helps.
Like the whole black and white, and then it's very methodical where the red is painted. That's the key part. It is because it's called Black, White, and Red, so it's done in black and white style, and then they pick the red out for very key moments. Usually Vader's lightsaber, but also for like blood, and they are very specific on it, and I think that's the key to it. Because if you're gonna do something stylized like that, you have to be picky about how you get that across. So let's move on to Hyperspace Stories, which is a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say that they weren't like there was no humor in the Vader stuff, but this is more high fantasy sci-fi versus I'd say the Black, White, and Red is dark fantasy sci-fi. So Hyperspace Stories Volume 2, the first issue, because each issue is its own story. This one goes with Ventress finding Vivine's toy, the Wookiee, that we've talked about anytime we've done the Hyperspace reviews. Because there's a Wookiee whose toy was lost and has some sort of artifact in it, and that's why everybody kind of keeps getting drawn to it. And so the Ventress story is Dooku sends her on an assignment to track that artifact. And so she goes to Kashyyyk first, where she senses that it was there, but it's been moved.
It's gone now.
And it leads
And
her.
Dooku roasts her for
Yeah,
not knowing whether or not it was there or not.
Eventually, her discoveries lead her to Naboo, where a now knighted Anakin is, because this is after Brotherhood.
Yeah. She sort of like has been like examining the Sith, how their dynamic works.
Yeah, because we've seen how it is in Clone Wars. We've seen how Dooku is, where he's very much, if you don't get it right,
Yep.
lightning.
The usual Sith strategy for, oh, you fuck it up, lightning.
Yeah, and because for the Sith, and Dooku says this exactly, it's the assignment that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So if you fail the assignment, then you're useless.
Yeah.
Grievous failed this similar assignment already, so to him Grievous is useless. And now, and we should also preface this with she just got done with another assignment where she got the main objective done, but she didn't kill the Jedi, which is another thing that we've seen that before with specifically in Clone Wars. We saw, was it Savage that did something similar?
There's like there's a thing about like I completed I didn't 100% the mission, but I passed the main objective thing where like people just get.
But like to Dooku, like if you don't face a Jedi, oh no, Ventress does have that same thing. Sorry, it's Ventress because it's during Grievous. It's Grievous that has that. It's during the Grievous when Kit Fisto and his ex-apprentice get stuck at Grievous's hideout, and they sent the Jedi there specifically to test Grievous. Like they led them to Grievous's place because Grievous has just been failing over and over.
Yeah.
And
it's another, you fucked up too much, better figure out what to do now.
yeah, and if you kill these Jedi, cool, then you passed our test. But Grievous only kills the Padawan, the ex-Padawan, who's now a knight, but not Kit Fisto. And Dooku's like, oh, interesting, so you killed both Jedi, and Grievous is like, well, no, I killed only one of them. He's like, well, you killed the Master then. He's like, no, it was the knight. And he's like, less impressive. We can work with it though. And that's basically what Ventress did, except she didn't kill either of the Jedi in this case. She just took the base that she was told to take. And so this is why she's sent on this assignment.
Yep.
Because Palpatine is like, well, she's useless to us unless she can actually kill people. And so
Dooku's out here like apprenticing people to sell the Sidious as like in case of emergency break glass.
well, yeah, because he's doing the thing that Sith do. They
All
do
the
it.
time.
They do it even more in like the Legends content, where they have an apprentice, but they can't call it an apprentice because of the rule too. So they just have assassins.
Yep.
And so, assassins are not quite my apprentice because I'm not trying to break the rules, but they're my apprentice.
Yeah.
And so,
It's like, well, did she do the job? No, not really. Oh, well, you better fix that then.
yeah, especially if you plan to try to like overthrow me with her, like
Like, come on.
you gotta get on it. You can't overthrow me with that kind of weakness.
Yeah. And he's like, all right.
So it's funny because Palpatine is absolutely a hype man when it comes to that, but then immediately will like 180 and be like, now kill her because y'all have gotten too powerful. And I can't have y'all betraying me.
Yep.
um,
It's like,
you got to make up your
Alright.
mind, but okay.
Meanwhile,
But yeah, so meanwhile, she watches Obi-Wan and Anakin go through a
Yeah.
similar argument of, I lost Ventress, and he's like, Obi-Wan's like, no, it's fine. You've got the main assignment done. You're alive. That's what I care
Yeah.
about, is that you're alive. I don't care about capturing Ventress. If we caught Ventress, that'd be great, but
but
I'd rather you be alive.
yeah. He's like, Obi-Wan's like, don't just run off on your own.
Yeah. You're a knight now, sure, but that doesn't mean you can
Yeah.
do this on your own.
After Ventress has like gotten all up in Vivian's grill and snatched.
No. Some Gungan.
Oh.
Because remember, it's been passed on already by this point.
'cause people keep passing this fucking thing around.
Yeah, no, it's a Gungan kid, and so she doesn't steal it yet. She scared it, and that's why Anakin's chased her.
Yeah.
And then she circles
She's
back.
like, and now, in seeing Anakin like having failed, she's like,
now I
and
get to
now-
see him suffer.
yeah. And Obi-Wan's like, don't just fucking run off on your own, idiot.
It's one of those situations of where you're in an absolutely toxic relationship, and then you see other relationships from that standpoint, and you're like, wait, why are they not doing the things that happen in my relationship?
Yeah.
Why are they not? And it's just like, honey, you deserve better. That's why. It's because you deserve better.
Oh, shame it's not working out for you, Ventress.
But and so Ventress does get the toy,
Mhm.
but then
And she's like,
a common theme that we will see
I don't want
is
it.
that no, she takes it, but she
Yeah.
doesn't report to Dooku that she has it,
Yeah.
which is a common theme we're gonna see in this when it comes to the Darksiders that collect it. We'll talk about it when we get to that next one. But our next story is not a Force user; it is Greedo.
Mhm. We were also talking about this one in the car where I'm like, while I was reading it, I'm like, don't fall in love with a lounge singer for 2 reasons. 1, that doesn't look like the lounge singer in episode 6. And also 2,
Every
just
noir
general
film- every
advice,
noir
every
film.
noir film ever. I'm like, Greedo, you're getting played for a damn fiddle, man. Like, I know you're kind of an asshole and deserve to be shot.
it's
But also,
So-
like, don't...
So Greedo's thing is very similar. You know how we did the so at the start of the season we did Revelations, and there's that one guy who just fails upwards. Greedo is kind of the opposite.
just fails downward.
He just absolutely fails and wrecks all the time, and yet for some reason Jabba just keeps him around. Like Jabba's just like, I'll give you another chance.
Yeah.
I really shouldn't, but I'll give you another one. And so like. So in this case, it turns out the lounge singer is both playing Greedo and Jabba, because they both end up going on to the same like restaurant and sitting down next to each other and they're like, "So who are you here to meet?" "Oh, the lounge singer." "Who are you here to meet?" "Shit."
They don't realize that until they're both like, oh, I should probably call who I'm supposed to meet up. Hey, where are you? The fuck do you mean, where am I? Where are you? Wait, if she's not with you, and she's not with me, and she's not back home, then where the fuck is she?
Taken off with the with the things that she stole from Jabba's vault that Greedo helped open.
Yep. And Greedo's like, wait. I can explain. She tricked me. It's like,
And obviously she tricked you. Oh wait, I shouldn't say that.
shouldn't say that out here in public.
Or to his face at all. I should
Yeah.
just not say that. But this is this has to be like, so this has to be before, either as the Clone Wars is starting or pre-Clone Wars, because we see Rada as a baby still,
Yeah.
and also it's still a younger Greedo. So I would assume this
Yeah.
is before Rada gets kidnapped. Would be where
possible.
it'd be where I would place it, but it could be after he gets kidnapped, because like the age is about the same. Same with Greedo. Greedo is that younger Clone Wars Greedo design. But yeah, he goes to he's like, I will capture her and I will kill her for you, Jabba, and that will make up for my mistake. Except he can't go through with it.
Yeah. I'm like,
And so instead, she gives him a chance to get out of it by going, hey, I know this Wookiee that's a bounty that if you get, that'll work for you.
Yep.
Turns out it's a Wookiee toy maker.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, this isn't the guy, Greedo.
This is worthless to me.
And it's like, wait.
I got this toy maker as a gift for
your
Rada.
son.
Yeah. To show my sincere apologies to the Hutt clans.
Yep. And it's like, I've never seen someone.
So maybe he is failing upwards. Maybe he's failing upwards.
I have never seen someone just barely pass a persuasion check so hard before.
Well, really, he's not failing upwards. He's failing laterally.
Yeah.
Like, this is a lateral movement.
You did not go up or down, you just went to the side.
Yeah. Because, like, the whole thing is him trying to impress Jabba so that way he can become, like, one of Jabba's, like... He wants to be the Boba Fett. He wants to be Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't? He wants to be Boba Fett. And nobody can be Boba Fett, especially not in Jabba's palace.
Yes.
So, and Greedo he tries too hard. That's really what it comes down to. Greedo tries too hard, and because he's trying too hard, it always just blows up in his face.
He tries too hard, and he doesn't, like, think things through at all.
Like, he tries to do grandiose things, but he doesn't think out how to do those grandiose things. He's just like, this is a great plan. This is a great big thing I can
This
do.
is a good idea.
And then he just does it without, like, actually planning how to do the thing. And it's just like, if you take, like, 5 seconds to just think about what you're doing. Because
He
even...
might have lived a little longer.
I think in that case, though...
Sorry.
I think...
I'm just enjoying it, having a little bit of fun.
I mean, it's
'cause-
fun to roast Greedo. Greedo kind of makes his own problems.
Yes.
I mean, we've talked about that with the Han Solo and Chewbacca comic, too. Like, Greedo makes his own problems. But yeah, speaking of Boba Fett, the next issue is Vivine hires Boba Fett to find her toy. Which, at first, Boba Fett's like, I ain't looking for no toy,
I'm
kid.
not looking for any toy.
But she's like, but it's the last thing my father made me before we got divided. Yeah,
Critical emotional damage.
emotional damage to Boba Fett.
Yep.
Because Boba Fett immediately flashbacks to his dad
I
dying.
was like, man.
Like, you don't know what you did, Vivine, but you did really well.
Yeah.
I think she insight checked on that one, and she was like, he's got
You
some
know-
daddy issues.
you
I
know,
think I can play on that.
Thinking about it, it must really suck to be Boba Fett. Because you get to see your dad die a lot.
To be fair, by this time, we're hitting, we're in the Empire Age.
Yeah.
So, because Hyperspace Stories flies throughout the different
Yeah.
time periods. A lot of it is Clone Wars, but there's also a lot of
Clone Wars.
original
Rise
trilogy
of the
and
Empire
as
kind
well
of
as
stuff.
yeah, it's all over.
I assume this one is like Rise of the Empire kind of.
Yeah, I would say it's like it's got to be either Rise of the Empire or during the original trilogy. Like it's in that area, and there's not a lot of other space that it could be.
Meanwhile,
But Boba Fett's like,
explains,
okay,
okay, I'm not gonna help you look, but also, like, kid, you really shouldn't be trying to hire me in this.
yeah,
crime
you're in a bad
alley.
you're in a bad neighborhood.
Yeah, we should leave.
And just as he says that, walking around the corner is Bosk and some Trandoshans who
And
immediately
they're like, it's time for the annual Wookiee slaughter. And it's like, could you not?
not in these public streets,
Or like at all?
you know, because it's kind of awful.
Trandoshans have history with Wookiees, to put it mildly.
We'll get into it when we get to Clone Wars, because
Oh,
there's that Clone Wars arc as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, remember when Gunji just fucking let a Trandoshan get eaten
The
alive?
bad batch arc.
He saw that and was like, fuck you. Some menacing behavior from a former Jedi Padawan. They deserved it though.
But yeah, so, yeah, they chase them down, and Boba Fett's like, fuck you in particular, Bosk, because Boba and Bosk already are, like, hating each other at this point. It has to be before War of the Bounty Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be, like you said, probably Rise of the Empire era. But yeah, so a lot of trading back and forth on, like, killing people, and Bosk killing a lot of Boba killing a lot of Trandoshans, and then Bosk like acting like, oh no, you beat me, and then like, nope, not really. Round 2.
Yep. It's like,
Just stay down. You don't have
Boba's
to
like,
do this.
Would you just fuck off?
Because the thing is, Boba does, like, I don't think he, well, one, he technically cannot kill Bosk because of the Bounty Hunter Guild rules.
They're
You
like-
can't kill guild members unless, like,
unless someone has a bounty on them,
yeah. And,
like an official one.
like, yeah,
not just guy 500 credits to go kill.
like, it has to
Jack.
be through the guild.
Yeah,
And so, like, Boba's like, I can't kill you. I can just keep beating you up. And it's I forget what the exact words are, but it's that meme where they're just beating him up. And it's like, stop, you beat him already. You don't have to do this.
stop! He's already dead. How many times are we gonna teach you this lesson?
It's all of that at once.
Yeah,
And,
and
so,
it's great.
and so, yeah, eventually Boba does manage to get them off their back. And Boba's like, all right, where do you want me to take you? You're already on my ship. We can just go wherever.
She's like, could you take me to like the bus stop?
He's like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Just be more careful out
Yeah.
there.
It's basically like
It's very dad of Boba
before-
Fett.
He's like, hey, don't ever stop looking for that thing your dad gave you. I can't promise everything
Yeah.
will work out.
Yeah,
but
keep looking,
keep looking for it.
but also be street smart.
But also stop hiring bounty hunters to do it.
Because they're not going to do it. They'll take your money and run.
Yeah. Much like how I'm going to.
To be fair, you could argue that the payment was protecting her
Yeah.
from the boss. But although at the same time, probably personal for Boba. That was less
Yeah.
business. That was more personal.
One of the like great interactions between that is like during that comic is Bosk being like, I'm gonna kill you someday, Boba, and he's like, yeah, you probably will. Not today though.
But yeah, I love seeing the bounty hunters interact. It's one of my I love.
It's great because it's like we can fuck with each other, but we can't actually do anything.
Like, we can go near death, but we can't kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the stakes are still high because there's still a lot that can
Yeah.
happen. And maybe somebody accidentally dies. That's a stake that could happen. And then that causes problems with the guild.
Mhm.
But obviously, in this case, we know that can't happen. But even then, the stakes are what happens to Vivine, although we
Yep.
already kind of know. We know that she makes it all the way to the Resistance era because we talked about that last time. We talked about Hyperspace Stories. But yeah, so I like this. Lastly, the last story for Hyperspace Stories Volume 2.
Mhm.
We go, speaking of Resistance era, we go into the Resistance era.
Yep.
With Snoke sending Hux and Kylo Ren to Caraxus to bring them to heal together. But of course they undermine each other
Yeah.
because that's what Hux and Kylo do best.
Yeah, they cannot.
God, the elevator scene is my favorite in that
It's
comic.
so great. Because Hux is like, we could work together on this. Kylo is like,
Just staring him down, he's just like,
what the fuck do you mean?
like this is literally Kylo the whole
Yeah,
time.
that's how it goes. And Hux is
But he's like wearing his mask still,
yeah, and
so
Hux
this
is like, fine, I guess we could try it.
yeah, because he's like I'm not scared of you, like a very playground like kid of like I'm not scared of you, secret like shaking,
Yeah.
and then
It's like,
because immediately the next sentence is Hux going fine,
"Alright,
we'll do it your way,
Your way.
which God, I could watch Hux and Kylo
Yeah.
all day long.
Like passive aggressiveness in the First Order has got like, that there are times like while someone is like at the desk like doing paperwork where it's like you can see them on the other side of the office where it's like you can hear them arguing and it's like I'm just gonna not pay any attention to that. I don't want to get shot or cut in half.
Yeah, this is some office drama, like comedy being waiting to happen, like Office Space levels of comedic, like.
Meanwhile, like going on this planet, they're like, "Oh man, how should we go about this?" And Kylo's like, "I will do it my way, and you can do it your way." and we'll see what happens.
And so Kylo basically does the aggressive negotiations where he just starts beating up on everybody.
He's like, hey, fucking tell me where this guy is.
Yeah, because so the thing is they have to find the leader of the local resistance, who is also the leader of the village, essentially. And so they're like, where is he? And they're like, I don't know. And even if he was here, we can't, like, I can't make a deal with you. So he has to find, you have to talk to him, even if I wanted to make a deal with you.
Yeah, that's like what Hux is doing. Meanwhile, like, Kylo's like, I'm just gonna start seeing what weird shit is around here.
Yeah.
Because they're probably...
Well, the main thing Kylo does is he manages to do the mind read thing that he does to Rey.
Yeah.
Where he...
Meanwhile, Hux is like, you know, you guys should really consider not fighting us and actually helping us.
Yeah, because Hux is trying he's trying to be diplomatic, but still underhanded with how he's doing it. And then and
seeing that after a while, after what I assume is like a couple of hours.
Yeah, because at this point Kylo has left the village.
Yeah.
Because he found out where the leader is using the mind reader and trick, and so he has gone into the forest to do that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Hux notices, hey, you got some giant creatures outside your wall that are kind of like just hanging out there. What are those? And the representative who can't do any deals is like, yeah, those are like, I forget what he calls them, but he's like, yeah, we have the city walls to keep them out because otherwise they'd be pretty destructive.
Yeah.
And Hux is like,
oh really? Sure would be a shame if we got rid of that wall over there, huh?
Sure be a shame if they got in somehow.
They're like, he's like, to prove a point as to why you need us, let's remove that wall.
Hux also did not think that. Going back to plans that are not thought through.
I'm like, you didn't... This is a bad plan.
Yeah. Because Hux is the Greedo of the First Order.
Meanwhile, Kylo is like, so, you want to make a deal with me before I fucking kill all of you?
Yeah, because he finds the, like, hideout, and he's like, hey, I'm willing to let y'all do this peacefully, but if you don't... Shows off lightsaber.
You know...
It's very gangster. It's like, some bad things could happen.
Sure would be a shame if your brake line was cut, huh, Tony?
Sure would be a shame if your house went up in flames.
This is a nice...
You got a nice family.
This is a real nice mailbox. This is all a joke.
But yeah, so Kylo they end up shooting at him, and he's like, all right, I guess we're doing things the hard way.
Fine, I guess we'll do it this way today.
And so he does break into the house of where the leader is, because he basically can feel him. He's like, I know exactly where you are.
Like, you gonna come out or what?
And so he breaks into the guy's house where he defends his family, and then he senses Vivine's toy. Because at first he's like, who's the Force user here? Because he's like, I can sense the Force.
Oh, it's not you, it's this.
Yeah, he's like, who's the Force user here? And they're like, there is no Force user here. And he's like, if you're gonna lie to me, mind read. Okay, actually, you're telling me the truth. That's actually impressive. Like, he's actually caught off guard by that. He's like,
anyhow, I'm taking this.
Then he thinks it's the location, because he's like, it could be the house or where we're at. But then he like dials it in finally, and he's like, oh, it's the toy. And so he takes the toy, but he also takes the leader.
It's like, also, we're not done.
You still got to come with me.
And he gets into town.
Because Hux, of course, lets the creature break in.
Yeah,
and
everyone is like, even his own the
stormtroopers.
The First Order is like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, because the stormtroopers, because Hux is like, so the town leader, like before, like not the guy that Kylo has, but the guy that they've been negotiating with, is like, yeah, what's going on? We can't handle this. And Hux is like, well, stare at the might of the First Order. And then the First Order is like, then the stormtroopers are like, we can't do this.
They're like, this isn't working out, man.
It's so funny too, because it's like right in front of that guy. And then Kylo comes in and he's like, "What the hell did you do?
The fuck happened while I was gone?
What mess did you do, Hux?" Because he
like-
immediately knows it's Hux.
He's like, I was gone for like 4 hours.
How did this happen? And so Kylo's like, "I've got this."
Kylo's the Donald Glover meme where he comes back to the apartment and it's on fire.
It's Community, yeah.
He's like,
He just
fine.
he went for pizzas and then comes back to this.
He's like, fine, I'll just fucking deal with it, I guess.
And so Kylo deals with it, and then Hux is like, "Well, don't just stand there, stormtroopers. Show your might." And it's just like, Kylo's got this. You're just you aren't saving this. You've messed it up.
Kylo's like, alright, look, here's the deal. You guys can stay on this planet and live in peace or whatever, but you work for us now.
Yeah, you send us supplies when
Send
we
us
tell you
supplies
to.
when we tell you to, and that's it.
Yeah, and
Otherwise, you're free to do whatever.
and as long as you send those supplies on time, we're good.
Just don't help the resistance.
And if you don't send those supplies on time, I'll be back.
If I was able to handle these 3 rampaging Titan creatures that you guys have going on, what will you do to stop me?
Yeah.
Nothing.
And so,
It's like, god damn.
yeah, so Kylo returns and reports to Snoke, and he tells him a twisted version, like very similar to like Ventress's story, which is why I said there's kind of a theme here with the Darksiders when it comes to finding this, that they are learning why the dark side sucks. Cuz like, and so like he tells Snoke the version of, "Yeah, I thought it was the place, so, and I just couldn't narrow it down." And Snoke's like, "Yeah, but it could have been the object. But if you were a better Force user, you would have figured that out."
You didn't suck.
Yeah. It's very backhanded compliment of,
Yeah.
"I'm impressed that you figured that far out, but also..." And so it's just like, but obviously, much like Ventress, Kylo did take it, so therefore,
Yeah.
Kylo's not dumb. He's playing the
Yeah.
long game, which this is obviously between. I would assume this is probably between
Yeah.
it can't be between Force Awakens and Last Jedi because of timeline. Because Last Jedi takes place immediately after Force Awakens, so I guess it would have
to be before.
it would have to be before Force Awakens. So yeah,
Once again, Ventress and Kylo being like, I'm gonna kill you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day.
yeah. So
I'll
what were
try
the
at
so what were the so Greedo was one of the two, right, for this one?
Yeah, Greedo and Boba.
Okay.
But as a whole, another banger.
Yeah, another bang like this.
I-
We are getting good comics. This year so far we have
Normally,
reviewed
I
good
don't-
stuff.
I don't normally do this for the comics. I'm gonna give it another 9 out of 10.
Okay, I was about to be like, "Are you about to give this a 10?" Like the way you were phrasing that, I was like, "Is this a 10?"
The reason why is combining the two, both of them together. I will give it a solid 10.
Yeah, but we're
But,
not.
like,
But because they're very
Separating
separate.
Hyperspace Stories and Black, White, and Red, both of them are like 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say they need to be separated, not just because they're entirely different
Yeah.
type of storytellings, but also one is Marvel, one's
Yeah.
Dark Horse.
So, with rules as we have currently instated them, both of them are a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and you know what? I will actually go back and give Vader a 9 as well. I agree. These are really good comics. Dark Horse Dark Horse has delivered good Star Wars comics for a long, long time. So having Dark Horse be able to do comics after, because IDW did them for a while, but having the switch from IDW to Dark Horse, I think Dark Horse has done nothing but deliver. I do wish we could have had both IDW and Dark Horse, because I thought IDW's take on Star Wars was also good. But I understand why, because licensing, and also it's expensive to just license out like that. So I can understand like having 3 different comic companies doing Star Wars comics, and also then you're flooding the market more, and you don't want to, like, people already say that Star Wars is flooding the market with itself, and I would say that's not entirely true.
I would say that's not entirely untrue either.
Yeah, because I would say
It's one of those things where Star Wars is very popular, and it has a lot of places it can go, but also it does have the...
within those particular spaces, it's spaces that self out.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, we got a TV show. That TV show just ended. Boom, another TV show. No, they usually wait about a month or two before the
Yeah.
next TV show. And then same thing with books. The books are usually spaced out about 3 to 4 months for the big novels, anyways. And then the comics, I mean, we get them every month, and I'd say there's currently like, let's see, Star Wars, Vader, Afra, which is ending, sadly. Bounty Hunters has ended, so I'm not even going to count that. What else am I missing? High Republic, Mainline, High Republic Adventures, and then Hyperspace Stories. Those are the 6 main, like, continuous ones. And then maybe they'll sprinkle in an ongoing, like a miniseries now and then. So six main. That's still very small when we're talking in terms of comic book runs that are continuous. I mean, just look at Marvel alone. Like Marvel, like has so many. Hell, Spider-Man alone has like so many ongoing by itself. And sure, they're different Spider-Man, but it's still like the Spider-Verse. So like yeah. So I'd say it's like you said, it is flooded, but it's not flooded in the way that like where it's the same media just constantly hitting you. You can space out. You can go, well, if you only like the TV shows, you've got a break. If you like only the novels, you have a break. The comics a little bit less so, but it's still like not as often as
like if
it
you
could
choose
be.
to focus on one, you'll be fine.
If you're like us and you just want Star Wars, then it's fine. I would say I don't feel burnt out content-wise. I can't speak for you.
Sometimes I get it, but then there'll be something like one of the benefits about us jumping around in Star Wars media is if I get tired of reading the books, there's like
We'll do a comic the
comics
next week or a TV show.
or like a TV show. So we don't have to worry too much about that. Oh no. Oh.
Are we back up?
Come on.
It's in the red still.
I forgot what thing I'm supposed to be looking at.
So,
there we go.
There we go. We're good. Okay. But yeah, so like you said, like you get that freedom of like, oh, we can bounce around to this if you're bored of that.
Yeah.
And even then, I try to schedule things in a way where like, for the most part, we're not going to be focusing on the same thing over and over. Next week, I mean, I'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah.
But we're already changing media again. Like, and honestly, what we did. What was last week was, oh, my brain. Short story. We did a short story last week. The week before we did comics.
Yeah.
And then we jumped back to comics this week. And next week we're jumping to something that we haven't done this year yet. Or that we haven't done at all for the show yet.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and wrap it up for this episode, and then I will preview what we're talking about next week. So, thank you all for watching today's episode of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I've been your host, Caleb. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe to us. You can find us at Escape Reality Films on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok. You can show your support for us by joining our Patreon, which is at Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley.
Yeah.
There you can watch our YouTube content before it's publicly available. So, for example, we were talking about it earlier. If you want to watch sessions of our Dungeons & Dragons games, which include the Acquisitions Incorporated campaign or the Grim Hollow Boom Boys campaign, before anyone else...
They're good.
Yeah,
Check them out.
That's how you can do it for $5 a month. Currently, we've got a session, the most recent session of Acquisitions up there, and with some new art that we talked about last week. And then we also have, I think, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 4 sessions of Boom Boys, I think, up there that haven't been publicly accessed, that aren't released yet. So yeah, all that's on there. I also got plans. You can also find me on Twitter at Escape Reality 94 and Facebook, Instagrams, and Threads at Caleb.Lockwood. Also, be sure, speaking of our D&D games, check out our friends at The Goblin Conspiracy on Twitch. That is one of my players for Acquisitions. She is a DM as well, and they are doing a campaign in a setting called Maelor. It's very interesting. Her party that she runs it with is great. They're funny. They do a little icebreaker thing at the start. It's a lot of fun. I don't know a specific time that they like post. It's kind of just, it's usually like a Friday generally. But yeah, so it's a lot of good time. And then speaking of other sessions that our friends run.
So Every Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, you can catch me and some friends of ours over at the Steam Dungeon on YouTube in a campaign called Trials of Nebu. There was a raid on the Cultists last week, and man oh man, they released a bunch of demon bunnies. They set them on fire. They're all dead now. They're currently still going through with the rest of the raid and making sure that their other squad mates are not dead.
Sorry, when you said demon bunnies, I immediately jumped to Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
And then the follow-up of they're all dead and on fire. The devil rabbits.
Yeah.
They've currently got some other stuff going on. Meanwhile, we still have not resolved the cart stuff because I kept getting called into work. Don't worry. Hopefully it'll be resolved this week. No more cliffhangers about that.
Yeah. But yeah, and for them it's actually, because it's youtube.com /Steam Dragon is what the URL is, but it's Steam Dungeon is the name of the channel. So, yeah, I think he had the old name for whatever the channel was, because I think he switched names for the channel. But it's Steam Dragon is what the URL is.
I know what it is. That's his name for the thing that we use for the voice calls.
Yeah. So
that he is the Steam Dragon.
Yeah, the channel is the Steam Dungeon, but the URL is Steam Dragon with the periods in between each letter for Steam and then Dragon. It's linked down below if you're watching on YouTube. We put all the links to our friends down there. So yeah, all that good stuff and more can be found from us and our friends here. And once again, thank you all for watching. Join us next week as we talk about my first Star Wars film, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Bye, everybody.
All right. Have a good one.